Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Veteran two.
Yep.
Roll call.
Councilmember Bucieri. Here. Councilmember Lynch.
Here.
Councilmember Rizzuto.
Here.
Councilmember Sparta.
Present.
Councilmember Tadrick.
Here.
Before I call for nominations for council president, I have a few words I'd like to bring to the public. As we bring our 2022 council year to a close, I look back on this past year as council president as a year of varied results. In many cases, we were required to deal with ongoing issues and personnel, township matters yet to be completed, and projects that although not of our making, did require our oversight. Looking forward to 2023, I believe that we can reset township priorities to address the needs of a wider segment of our community. The completion of the new pump track and the walking trail bicycle path on Route 94 provides many in our community with an opportunity for vigorous activity. With our diverse fields and varied facilities, our youth can take part in many different sports on a number of different competitive levels. Perhaps it is now time for Vernon to look to some other areas of recreational opportunity. About 6 years ago, I introduced a proposal to recognize the outstanding work and commitment of the men and women of our local Vietnam Veterans of America Chapter 1002, who began in 2012 to work to fill a very real need for a cemetery as a final resting place for their deceased brothers and sisters. As we all know, that need has now been achieved with a beautiful facility that now exists in Sparta, New Jersey. Council and I believe that this selfless commitment needs to be recognized by returning veterans who have never heard the words, "Welcome home," on their return from foreign shores. In recognition of their heartfelt service, Vernon Council would like to see the start of the construction of in 2023 of a band shell that I proposed about 6 years ago as a unity project to honor the members of this chapter who have made us all so very proud. The band shell would be located on the Great Lawn at Maple Grange Park and will be dedicated to and named the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Band Shell. This structure will be used by residents of all ages, from preschoolers through our growing senior citizen population. To that end, I am asking the council that the sum of $300,000 be appropriated with council approval in our current budget, with a stipulation that funding also include grant money to offset costs to our taxpayer. Hopefully, we will be able to secure enough private funding and community donations to eliminate any tax impact. As a gesture of my commitment to this project, I have contacted and have secured commitments for $15,000 towards this unity project from two individuals who have most generously and happily given to this most worthwhile project. I have also submitted a request for further funding assistance to a private foundation. With this initial commitment and the possibility of additional aid, perhaps residents of the township, as well as other township businesses, will be moved to join in, also providing financial support. With that expectation, a grant line will be established in our budget to support this effort. The project will, I believe, provide a basis for many activities, recitals for youngsters, musical and choral presentations, readings, plays, and film showings, while enriching the character of our community. It is my sincere hope, and I am sure that of the councils and administration, this project be completed and scheduled for dedication this late fall. Thank you.
I know I'm not supposed to interrupt the council president, but as one of the only vets, the only vet at this table and the mayor, the only other vet in this administration right now that I know of, this is long overdue. Told you, John, way back when you were going to be alive when the cemetery started and you're going to be around for this too. Welcome home, guys. You never got that welcome,
Welcome home.
so you deserve it.
Okay, I'd like to open the floor for nominations for council president. And at this time, I'm going to, as a point of privilege, ask that the council approve by unanimous declaration the nomination of a person I think will do a fine job as council president, a man who I've known for a long time and who's has previously served here and perhaps brings more of a note of levity than I have in the past. So at this point, I'd like to nominate Brian Lynch for council president. And I am proud to do so as a friend and as fellow council member.
And there you go.
Okay.
Better hurry up, here come the cops.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Councilmember Bucieri,
Yes.
Councilmember Lynch,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto,
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadrick.
Yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Lynch.
Ryan.
Thank you very much, Pat.
You're quite welcome.
If you want to stay for this meeting, we can stay in these seats. No?
No.
Do whatever you want.
Gotta move.
Gotta move.
All right. You'll just,
Grab my stuff.
this is a cheat sheet.
Yep,
There you go.
thank you.
You're welcome.
That is that seat too high?
You have a name tag on?
Yeah,
Well, just state your name.
because Renee couldn't believe it was me in a suit.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna shake your hand. Congratulations.
Congratulations, sir.
Before we get started, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna hold my comments until the end of the meeting. So we can move the agenda along. I would like to now take nominations for council vice president.
I would like to nominate Mrs. Natalie Bucieri, council vice president.
And I will second that. Please call the roll.
Vice President Bucieri,
Yes.
Council President Lynch,
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto,
Yes.
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Councilmember Tadrick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
I just want to say that Natalie Bucieri has been one of the best council members to work with. I think that she does a real good job of staying on top of things, and I appreciate everything that you do.
It's a little rough with this group, but well,
You asked for it.
I thank
What
you.
you wish for.
Yeah. thank you.
Okay. Do you have any comments you would like to make?
I don't have any comments right now, but thank you
Okay.
for asking.
Okay, Mayor Burrell, I would like for you to take the oath of office and please swear in Judge James Sloan.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. It's a real honor to do this. You know, normally you have judges swearing you in, but I'm really, really honored. I've already made some comments about Judge Sloan for the council and for the public, and we know we're getting a first-class individual. And I was just honored that Judge Sloan wanted me to swear him in. I'm a little nervous about this, being the judge, but it's really a pleasure. Do you have anybody else here with you?
I have my wife.
Would you ask her please to come up?
Please come up.
Sloan, how you doing? If I go wrong on this, Judge, you've done this more times than I.
Only
a
few times.
Only a few times.
I'm gonna ask her to hold the Bible.
Okay. The Honorable Judge, would you please repeat after me? I, Sloan,
I, James Sloan,
do solemnly affirm
solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the great state of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the government
and to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly affirm
I do further solemnly affirm
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all duties
perform all duties
of the municipal court judge of Vernon Township
of the municipal court judge of Vernon Township
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my
and
ability.
this is the best part, so help me God.
So help me God.
Judge, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna make a speech. I assume Mark, we're gonna have him sign these some other time so we can move on. Is that okay, Judge? You can come out of office and we'll do that. That's perfect.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I
Thank you, Judge.
promise to serve you well.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Great, we appreciate that.
Thank you, Judge. The judge actually altered his schedule. He went to swear someone else in so that he could be here. I'm really honored.
It's for the mayor of Newton.
Okay.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, Judge Sloan. Welcome aboard.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay. We have some pretty terrific people that also need to be sworn in, and they're members of the fire department. And Commissioner Dan Gross, please come forward. Deputy Commissioner John Kosh, please come forward. Chief Jeff Anderson, please come forward. Deputy Chief Brian Entering. You know, I've known you forever. I don't know how to say your last name. Entering. What are you laughing for, John? I didn't know. And my favorite, Scott Semchezen, Deputy Chief from Highland Lakes. Mayor, will you please swear in?
It would be my honor.
Mayor, could we have them stand up here so they get on the,
Yes,
so everybody can
you stand around here.
That way your families can see them too.
I know these guys only put on these fancy uniforms at certain times, but boy, don't they look good? I'm a uniform person. They sure look good. I want to just thank you guys for everything. I guess maybe you get thanked a lot, but maybe you don't get thanked enough for the volunteer work that you do and just what you do for us in general. So it is really my honor to do this. So I'm going to read the oath and then you simply put in your name. Would you please put in your name? Okay, please repeat after me. Do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people. I do further solemnly affirm that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all of the duties of the volunteer fire department according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations, Joe. Congratulations. And thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You guys, anybody?
That's all right. I bought the last time.
You did.
He never buys.
Oh. there you go.
Not even on.
I $5 for that. You get $5.
Council President, this is your meeting. If they want to pause for a few seconds, do a photo.
Yeah.
that okay?
That's fine with me.
Some might have some family.
Some of them are pretty good looking, so you better get that photo now.
Even with your family members, I'll snap the picture. Anybody's got family members, they want to take photos.
Yeah, go ahead.
And they can come by the office and we'll get you signed. Okay. There you go.
I have to say that, all of these gentlemen, I remember when they first started on the fire department,
Yeah.
and I'm being told that I was old back then too. And they remind me of it every day. So thank you guys for reminding how old I am.
Just look straight ahead.
Wait, look at that crowd, huh?
Aw.
They look great.
Thank you. I got two good ones, guys.
Good, because we got two good sides.
Okay. All right. Not so sure if this is moving or not. Is that okay? You want me to take another one? Yes, sweetie pie, just say that. Is this an Android or Apple? Okay. Very good.
Thank you so much. Okay, I would like to ask the Chief Operational Officer, Michael Griffin of the, are you with Glenwood? Okay, with Glenwood Pochuck Ambulance Squad, Mr. Mayor, would you please?
Yes, we'll do the same oath.
Yep.
Come over here, Howard. Yeah.
Right here. Interesting thing about Michael, my wife taught Michael
Oh, nice.
in school, and now here he is, he's got his gold lieutenant bars on. Michael, it's a pleasure. Would you preach your name?
I'm Michael Griffin.
Do solemnly affirm
Do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly affirm
I do further solemnly affirm
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the volunteer fire department,
of the volunteer EMS department
Sorry.
EMS, yeah, I'm sorry, EMS, yeah. According to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If we,
Congratulations, Mike.
Congratulations.
my wife.
Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Take care, Michael. You're always there when we need you. You're very welcome. Congrats, man.
Okay, thank you. Before we go on to public comments, I would be remiss if I wanted to say something to Pat Rizzuto. First of all, thank you so much for the nomination and your words of encouragement. Thank you for your leadership for a year. This has not been a very comfortable year for you. I'm so sorry for your loss. You handled it with grace and dignity. And thank you for that. And I know Barbara is very proud of you.
Thank you.
So that's what I wanted to say. I was going to fold that into my comments, but it needs to be separated so you know how I feel.
Thank you very much.
All right. May I have a motion to open the floor to public comments on an agenda item?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Councilmember Vice President Bucieri,
I'll second it.
seconded by Councilmember Joe Tadrick. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The floor is open to anybody who would like to speak for 3 minutes on any agenda item. Is there anybody in the skybox?
Yes. Jessica Palladini.
Good afternoon. I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody. And you could hear me, right?
Yep, yep.
I didn't know if I was on mute. I want to say Happy New Year to everybody and that I am ever hopeful for good government on our council in 2023. Brian, I want to congratulate you for your position as council president. And I want to thank you, Pat Rizzuto, for having served in that capacity. I think I heard you say, as far as the band shell is concerned, did you say that you have $15,000 in grant money or donations already?
Yes, that's correct.
Wonderful. Okay. So I know you've wanted a band shell for a long time, Pat. I have always supported that and I will support it again, assuming or on the condition that it's in Maple Grange Park.
I
And not,
believe I stated that, Mrs. Pellet.
I just want to be sure because I've heard the desire to place it elsewhere in years past. So I will support that wholeheartedly. And if you recall, last year on multiple occasions, I offered to apply for grant money for the township, but no one ever came forward and asked me to proceed with that. I'm very happy to announce that the federal government has once again extended funding for the second year in a row for scenic byway people. And I would be happy to apply for a grant for that band shell because I think it is a good cause. I think it would be a wonderful amenity for the township. And I hope that this time you will take advantage of that.
You can count on it.
Thank you. And that's all I have to say. Happy New Year again.
Thank you.
Ms. Palladini, I just want to say, I won't speak for the rest of the council, but on the record, I will ask you to assist if you can with grant money. So you have an official from me, not that I'm only one of 5, but I would appreciate your assistance in this project. I think it's something that would help the town. I've seen people recently on Facebook talking about Sugarloaf and the amenities of Sugarloaf, and people wonder why they drive through Vernon because we don't have anything like that. This would be a nice start, and it would be to a group of people who really deserve it, in my opinion. Thanks.
Thank you. And I would be happy to do that. I'm always happy to do things for Vernon. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
I don't have any other hands up.
Nobody.
Okay. May I have a motion for public comments? Okay. Motion made by Councilmember Rizzuto,
I'll make a second.
second by Vice President Bucieri. All in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Any opposed? And because this is my first day as council president, I'm going to ask for your indulgence and forgive me that I did not introduce some of our guests that are here today. Our county commissioners are here and assemblymen. Commissioner Bill Hayden, please stand to be recognized. Everybody knows Jill Space as our county commissioner in the back there. And we know Parker Space even better than Jill Space. He's a brother firefighter up there too. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your attendance. Okay, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. You'll notice that in the agenda, it says resolution 2201. We needed to have that pulled because we're waiting on information that has not arrived yet. So we're going to start off with resolution 23-02, designating meeting dates of the Township Council for 2023 calendar year. Resolution 2303, a resolution to appoint the Standard Insurance Company to provide a fully insured short-term disability program for the period of January 1, 2023 through February 1st, 2025. Resolution 23-04, resolution to adopt the cash management plan for 2023. A resolution authorizing the executive, Resolution 2305, a resolution authorizing the execution of a shared service agreement with the Vernon Township Municipal Utilities Authority for the provision of financial administrative services. Resolution 2306, a resolution authorizing the execution of a shared service agreement with the Vernon Township Municipal Utilities Authority for the services of the Department of Public Works. Resolution 23-07, reauthorizing petty cash funds for the calendar year 2023. Resolution 23-08, authorizing an agreement with the County of Sussex Department of Human Services, Division of Social Services for the transportation services for senior citizens and people with disabilities who reside in Vernon Township for the year 2023 in the amount of $50,000 per year. Resolution 2309, authorizing the award of required disclosure contract with Special Data Logic for permitting licensing software. Resolution 2310, authorizing change order number 1 of the contract for proposed improvements of Old Coach Road and Pleasant Valley Road within Vernon Township with Garden State Highway Products Incorporated. Resolution 2311, authorizing the award of a contract for 2023 between A&E Clothing and the Township of Vernon to locate clothing donation bins at the Municipal Recycling Center. Resolution 2312, authorizing the award of contract for professional services for qualified purchasing agent. Resolution 23-13, appointment of special officers. Class 2, Scott Wallach and Roy Weary. Class 1, Jim Vett, Mike Sauer, and Doug Vince. Resolution 2314, resolution appointing risk management consultant. Resolution 2315, resolution appointing a fund commissioner. Resolution 2316, authorizing change order number 1 of contract for proposed improvements of Old Coach Road and Pleasant Valley Road within Vernon Township with Denville Line Painting Incorporated. Resolution 2317, authorizing, 2318, no,
You're right.
no, I was right, 2317. Authorizing change order number 1 of contract for proposed improvements to various streets within Vernon Township with Denville Line Painting Incorporated. Resolution 2318, authorizing a contract with Munidex to maintain the township's vital statistics software in 2023. 2319, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, and the State of New Jersey appointing deputy custodians of records. Resolution 2320 is a designation of an official newspaper for 2023. Resolution 2021, appointment of a public agency compliance officer. Resolution 2322, appointing Township Business Administrator as ADA Coordinator. Resolution 2323, authorizing signatures on township checks pursuant to NJSA 40A 5/16. Resolution 2324, authorizing a memorandum of agreement with Signature Information Solutions for inquiry only access to certain tax collectors' tax and/or utility records via Edmonds and Associates. Resolution 2325, authorizing a memorandum of agreement with the Accurate Abstracts for inquiry only access to certain tax collectors' tax or utility records via Edmonds and Associates. Resolution 2326, authorizing a memorandum of agreement with the Valtech Research for inquiry only access to certain tax collectors' tax and/or utility records via Edmonds and Associates. Resolution 2327, authorizing a memorandum of agreement with the Action Title Research for inquiry only access to certain tax collectors, tax and or utility records via Edmonds and Associates. Or 2328, authorizing a memorandum of agreement with Priority Search Services LLC for inquiry only, access to certain tax collectors, tax and or utility records via Edmonds and Associates. Resolution 2329 is a resolution of the Township of Vernon appointing a municipal public defender. Resolution 2330, resolution of Township of Vernon appointing a municipal prosecutor. Resolution 2331, authorizing the award of contract for professional services. Township attorney labor, 50,000. Special township attorney tax appeals, 60,000. Litigation, all attorneys, 100,000. Special counsel, all attorneys, 10,000. Bond counsel, 10,000. Municipal prosecutor, 28,500. Township auditor, 45,800. Township engineer is 50,000. Township planner general is 10,000. Public defender is 2,000. Public defender, another for public defender is 5,000. Expert appraisal services for 15,000.
This one.
Yes. Financial advisor.
Okay, okay, I'm sorry. Financial advisors is 5,000. Resolution 2332, establishing interest rates for delinquent property tax and assessments. Resolution 2333, adoption of the 2023 temporary municipal budget. Resolution 2334, the resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Vernon authorizing the award of a payroll management services and software vendor through competitive contracting process, CC number 4-2019. Now, are there any of these resolutions that need to be removed from the consent agenda and voted on privately, separately?
Brian, sorry, Council President. Could I have resolution 2321 and 2322 separate? Clarity.
You need information on them?
I mean, I'll ask the question now if you allow me to. In the resolution, it just says designate the township acting co-business administrator. All the supporting documents does have Donnell on it. But I think in a resolution, it should have the name since we have two co-business administrators right now.
I think Donnell is going to be the person to be,
It says that on all the supporting documents, but I think it needs to be in a resolution. All the other resolutions, like for the, I think it was the files and everything, you were actually named in it. It didn't say town clerk,
okay.
it actually had your
I
name.
mean, we can add that. I don't think that's something that we can't vote on.
Can that be added to the resolution as we go now? or-
Just make a motion to amend the resolution.
Okay,
To,
you can go ahead and make.
I'll make a motion to amend resolution 2321 and 2322 to add the name Donnell.
I think you have to do each one separately.
Okay.
Two different resolutions.
Resolution 2321, motion to amend it to name Donnell Wright as the agent compliance officer.
I'll second it.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Motion for 2322 for ADA coordinator to name Donnell Wright as well in the resolution.
I'll second that.
motion made by Councilmember Sparta, seconded by Councilmember Tadrick. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other resolutions that we can now pull 2321 and 2322 from this vote? Because we voted on it already?
yeah,
Okay,
the amendment's gone through.
Yeah.
The amendment, but not the actual vote.
okay,
Right.
You can stick in there.
okay, you can stay in. So may I have a motion to all these resolutions? Motion made by Councilmember Rizzuto, seconded by
I'll second it.
Vice President Bucieri.
I do have one quick question. that maybe the chief can answer. So for 2313, the special officers, what are those? Curious, the class 1, class 2.
Class 1 and class 2, they just assist us with traffic. They're not full.
I'm like, I see Scott's name. I'm like, it's Scott coming back.
No. It gives them an opportunity that he's in a position as a special officer.
Okay, so like when you
He
need
can have his.
ad hoc.
If we needed him to
Gotcha.
augment something with traffic, he could.
Okay, that's what I figured, but I just wanted to ask you. Okay, just curious about that. Thank you.
I know when we have the fireworks, and stuff like that, special officers are a big part of making sure that the people get in and out.
Yeah,
They assist us with graduations, things like that.
gotcha. Okay, that's what I figured, but I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Council, have any other questions on the resolutions?
Nope.
Okay, can I have a motion made by Pat? Seconded by
Natalie?
Vice President Bucieri? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. We are going to mayoral appointments to boards, commissions, and committees.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. To the council president and other council members, I take this opportunity to again thank the host of volunteers who serve on municipal boards, on municipal committees, and on municipal commissions. By them volunteering their thoughts, by them volunteering their ideas, their time, and their efforts, they enable our town to provide our residents the type of services that we could never financially afford to provide without them. And they contribute significantly to Vernon being an even better town to live and which to raise a family. I never cease to be impressed not only by the high degree of enthusiasm displayed by these volunteers to help our town, but also by the talent, by the experience and the training that so many of our volunteers bring with them to the positions in which they serve. At this time, I'm going to make appointments to 6 different committees, our boards and our commissions. I reserve the right to make other appointments at a later date as appropriate. My initial appointments are to fill the positions that come available annually on our town's outstanding beautification committee. This is a committee that has received lots of praise, thanks, and other glowing words of appreciation from all segments of our town, as well as from those who live in other towns but travel through Vernon during their daily commutes. For years, this committee's beautiful plantings in the summer, spring, and fall, and their outstanding holiday decorations in the winter have lifted our spirits and caused our hearts to smile with pride at how good and welcoming our town looks as a result of their work. So it is with pleasure that I bring this team back again for another one-year term. I hereby reappoint the individual who has led this committee so successfully during my 3 years as mayor, and that is Mrs. Mary Ellen Vincent-Conti. I also reappoint the other creative team members who have worked diligently side by side with her. I speak of Mrs. Stephanie Salingo, Mrs. Reba Burrell, Mrs. Karen Gonian, and Mrs. Karen Gonian. I'd like to thank them as a team and let them know that their value to our town is measured not only in the positive comments that I and members of the council often receive, but also in the smiles that fill the faces and the pride that fills the hearts of our town's residents. My next appointments are to the Municipal Senior Citizen Committee. This well-functioning committee is made up of members of the Vernon Township family who have withstood the slings and errors of time and have earned the right to wear the honorable title of senior citizen. Mrs. James Danstra, the director of our Municipal Senior Center, tells me that this committee has played a critical role in the success of the many programs and activities that our town offers the members of our municipal senior family. So it is without a shadow of a doubt that I reappoint Mrs. Gloria Freito, Mrs. Krista Gary, Mrs. Nancy Goulden, Mrs. Josephine Prisco, Mrs. Susan Puste, Mr. Layden Bergman, and Mrs. Marilyn Turansky to new 3-year terms as members of the Municipal Senior Citizen Committee. My third appointments are to the Municipal Environmental Commission. This year brings 2 openings on this commission. These openings are for 3-year terms. To fill one of these openings, I reappoint Commissioner Katharina Suwaski to another term. To fill the other opening, it is my pleasure to appoint Mrs. Jennifer Carson to be our newest environmental commissioner. Mrs. Carson, a 26-year resident of our town, has been active in promoting positive environmental causes for years. She has played key roles in organizing events such as Earth Day celebrations and a cut-a-thon, which are funds are raised to promote and benefit Arbor Day. Mrs. Carson's experience at promoting marketing events with Strauss News, the Times Herald Record newspaper, and the Spectrum Cable Company gives her the added potential to be of significant value to our Environmental Commission in promoting its causes and events. My fourth appointment are to the Municipal Land Use Board. The Municipal Land Use Board is a statutory board that's created by New Jersey land use law and is one of the most important and influential boards in any municipality. This year brought 6 openings on this board, 5 of which I as mayor have the responsibility for appointing, and 1, that being the board member who represents the council, is the council's responsibility to appoint. Because they have served this board and the people of Vernon so well during their terms, I am pleased to reappoint the following individuals to new terms on the Municipal Land Use Board. Mr. John Allberger. I am honored that this former council member has agreed to serve as my representative on this board for another year. Mr. Craig Williams. Because his extensive knowledge and experience are key assets to this board, it is with confidence that I reappoint him to serve a new 3-year term as the Class 2 representative on this board. Mr. Michael Whitaker. His 7 years of service on this board has been a strength for the board. And because I don't want to take this strength away, I hereby appoint him to a new Class 4 3-year term on this board. Mr. Paul Mealy. He has requested an opportunity to continue his service on this board, and I have chosen to give him that opportunity by reappointing him to serve in a 2-year alternate number 3 position on this board. As I said earlier, the Municipal Land Use Board is one of the most important and influential boards in any municipality. This board is responsible for the municipality's master plan and controls the development and use of land within the municipality in accordance with the municipality's master plan. This includes the selection of land for recreation, open space, and residential business development. A board with this kind of diverse statutory responsibility needs members with a diversity of skills and experience. And therefore, I am delighted to have the opportunity to appoint Mr. Mark Heffler, Esquire, to serve a 2-year alternate number 2 position on this board. Mr. Heffler brings to this board his diverse educational background of a BA in English literature, a master's degree in business administration, and a law degree from Seton Hall Law School. He also has an extensive background of volunteer leadership and service. His diverse background and experiences can only help this board to maintain its current high quality. My 5th appointments are to the Municipal Economic Development Advisory Committee. All of the seats on the Municipal Economic Advisory Committee are for 1-year terms, and therefore all seats are available for reappointment this year. 2 of last year's members on this committee have requested to be reappointed to serve another year, and I gladly grant their request. The first is former council member and former mayor, Ms. Sally Rinka. And the second is an individual who is an active volunteer in activities that support both the Vernon schools and the Vernon community in general, Mrs. Karen Goning. Anyone with the knowledge of our town's decades-long efforts to develop a town center and to develop and add other amenities that will attract the type of commercial venture, which will, number 1, provide additional need tax dollars that will help to reduce the municipal tax burden on our homeowners. And number 2, that will provide residents and additional services and conveniences that they need and that they want. Anyone with the knowledge of our town's decades-long efforts in this regard know that we should take advantage of every opportunity that we have to bring in new, fresh thinking and diversity of ideas. 3 volunteer applications have presented me with an opportunity to do just that. I have chosen to act on this opportunity by appointing the following 4 individuals as new members to the Municipal Economic Development Advisory Committee. Mr. Michael Gelfand. In addition to his educational background of a BA degree from Syracuse University and a master's degree from NYU, he will bring to this committee his experience as a director with the professional services firm and Big Four accounting organization, KPMG, plus his unique knowledge of our community gained in part from his 12 years of service on the board of the Highland Lakes Country Club. Mrs. Susan Barkley. She will bring to this committee some new, fresh thinking and a diversity of ideas that will come from her BA degree in American Studies from Columbia University and her 29 years of pharmaceutical marketing and experience. Mrs. Mary Beth Zuba. She will bring to this committee not only the educational experience gained from her political science degree from Duke University, but also the experience and ideas that she has gained from her 10 years of work in business administration, her 3 years as a small business owner, and her 35 years of working in the hospitality industry. Mr. Carl Contino, his technical school specialization in architectural technology and design, his BA degree in history, plus his years of working in the Vernon community will be valuable additions to what I hope will be a rejuvenated Municipal Economic Development Advisory Committee. My 6th and final appointments are to fill the vacancies that exist on our Municipal Recreation Board. This is a board that has proven itself to be very effective in planning and in organizing, directing, and in coordinating well-organized recreational activities for Vernon family members of all ages. From what I've learned from attending meetings and seminars at the League of Municipalities conventions and from talking to other mayors and other municipalities in Sussex County, as well as mayors in other parts of our state, Vernon is somewhat unusual and unique from the standpoint of our heavy reliance on a combination of our volunteer municipal board of recreation, working close with our PAL organization to provide a very large range of successful municipal recreational activities and events and other quality of life services for our town's residents. The value and importance of our residents of these recreation activities and events and other provided quality of services is evidenced by the large and growing number of residents who participate in, who attend, and who express their enjoyment and appreciation of these community activities and programs. The financial benefit of providing these community programs and activities through a combination of our volunteer municipal board of recreation and our PAL organization can be measured in the savings of municipal tax dollars when compared to what other towns spend on comparable community programs and activities. Mrs. Heather Levant's dedicated and activity participation on this board have been critical to its success. And I'm very pleased that she responded affirmatively to my request that she continue to serve our community as a volunteer. Therefore, it is with a great degree of satisfaction that I reappoint her to a new 3-year term on the Municipal Board of Recreation. Mr. Council President, those are all of the appointments that I have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this time, may I have a motion to open the floor to public comments on any topic?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Council Vice President Bucieri
I'll second.
and second by
Sparta.
Brad Sparta, Councilmember Sparta. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, anybody who would like to have something to talk about? You have 5 minutes on any subject. Anybody want to come forward? Do we have anybody in the skybox?
I am Doreen Edwards.
Mrs. Edwards, welcome.
Thank you, and congratulations to everybody who's been reappointed. excuse me, and new positions. I want to just say Happy New Year to everybody. And a special thank you to Pat Rizzuto for his great leadership. And he had some hard decisions to make and he stood firm. And I have to say the taxpayers appreciated that. So all the best and looking forward to a good fiscal year 2023 for Vernon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy New
Thank
Year.
you. Happy New Year.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else?
I don't see any other hands up.
I'll make a motion to close.
Motion made by Council Vice President Bucieri, second.
Second.
Second by Council Member Rizzuto. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Mayor, your comments?
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I want to join lady who spoke, you and others. And first, thanking former Council President Rizzuto for his leadership of the council during the 2022 calendar year. While he and I have not always agreed on every issue, I have firsthand understanding of the fact that being in a leadership role is for sure a privilege and an honor. I also know and understand that it is never the simplest or always the easiest or most comfortable role in which to be. He has been a fighter and a fierce promoter in support of the positions and issues that he has advocated for. And for that, he has my great respect and my great appreciation. Again, thank you, Councilman Rizzuto, for your leadership.
Thank you, Mayor.
Second, I want to congratulate and welcome Councilmember Brian Lynch as the new council president. You know, I have known Brian for several years. And during the time that I served jointly as a Sussex County Commissioner and a member of the Vernon Township Council, it was at his invitation that I joined with him and a team of Highland Lakes Fire Department members in a burning building simulator training session. This was literally a scary baptism by fire experience for me. I came out of that with some scars on my face from metal up against. It was scary as heck. It really was. I didn't know if I was going to get out of there, and I never wanted to go back again. And it gave me such a great appreciation of what firefighters do. But it was also a bonding experience between me and Brian and other firefighters. What I know of Brian, he is a direct, a no-nonsense, tell it like it is, sometimes blunt, but good and fair person. And it is for those and other reasons that I look forward to working with him as leader of this year's council. Yesterday, we said goodbye to the old year, and today we welcome in the new year. For generations, this has been a hopeful time for people all over the world. It's a time when there's hope that bad things can be made good, that hurtful wounds that were open can be healed, that problems which were viewed from the darkness of confusion can be seen in a clearer light, and where relationships that were painfully strained can be gingerly mended. I'm among those who view this time with hope, because being hopeful is part of my American heritage, because being hopeful is part of my personal upbringing, and because being hopeful has worked so well for me throughout my life, it quite frankly is the only way that I know how to live. Please don't confuse my hopefulness with naiveness or weakness, as some have mistakenly done. My hopefulness is not naiveness, because my life experience have clearly taught me that while we live in a world of much goodness, we will also encounter those individuals and those events and those days that will make some aspects of our life so miserable, so uncomfortable, so hard and so hurtful, until we will sometimes feel as if it's an uphill climb just to get to the bottom. But my faith in life's experiences have also taught me that if we just endure, that if we just don't give up, that if we just fight on through the dark night, that the hopeful strength that we need will return in the morning. And my hopefulness is not weakness, because my life experiences have clearly taught me that being strong does not mean that you will never get hurt. It simply means that when you do get hurt, you will never let the hurt defeat you. And so I enter this last year of having the honor and privilege of serving as your mayor. I do so knowing and understanding that the council and I will face some difficult economic and other challenges, but believing that together we can be successful in our ongoing efforts to make Vernon an even better town in which to live and raise a family. I'm ready and eager to meet those challenges, so let's begin. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council comments. Councilmember Rizzuto. Would you like to?
I think I've said my piece for this meeting. Thank you very much, Council President.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your comments.
Councilmember Sparta.
First and foremost, I just want to wish everybody a healthy and safe new year looking ahead. I look forward to a year of good discussion with our council members and also the mayor. I also look forward to what I hope are calmer waters than what have been, and bridges not only being mended, but new ones being built as well. I also would like to think that we're going to have a very good, productive year with the other council members sitting here, the mayor and the administration. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Councilmember Tadrick.
First off, I'd like to echo the thoughts about former TCP town council president Rizzuto. That was his nickname. He's been, I think, a very good leader, and he's been an extremely good friend. And he's had a hard year, and I support him 110%. Having said that, everybody else in the council, I thank you for welcoming me as a new guy and asking some questions that may have been hard questions that I asked that might have annoyed some people. I appreciate your understanding about that. And for the township, I just hope it's going to be a much better year in 2023. Happy New Year to everybody and be safe. That'd be it.
Councilmember, Council Vice President.
Thank you. That's okay.
I apologize.
No big deal. I just want to say it's really just such a honor to start out our meeting. I know it's like a little weird, January 1st on the Sunday, right? We're here, but just with all our volunteers and starting out the year that way with our fire, our EMS, all of the committees, our veterans, and just starting out that year on such a positive note and seeing how many people really devote themselves to our community to want to better it, helping in so many different ways, from beautification to the fire department, land use, rec department. So that's really just such a positive and uplifting way to start the years. I really appreciate that. And I'm glad that we're able to honor them and have, a lot of the volunteers here today. I want to thank my fellow council members for supporting me as council vice president for a second year. I'm happy to serve in that capacity. I want to extend my congratulations to Council President Mr. Lynch as our new council president. I know that you'll do a great job in your role for 2023, and I look forward to working with you. I want to thank Mr. Rizzuto for his leadership last year as council president. I don't know if the public realizes how much time and effort that position requires. It's intense. And Mr. Rizzuto dedicated himself to that. He dedicated his time, his energy, really unselfishly during that time. He led us well. I appreciate all the time and effort that you've devoted to our community, and I have learned quite a bit from you. And
Thank you, Ms.
I'm happy to work with you. We'll still work together, but worked so closely last year with you. I really did enjoy that. As we look forward to this year, I'm just optimistic about our town and any challenges. We talk about the budget. We know we're probably going to have challenges there. We'll probably have challenges that will surprise us, but I'm confident that as a community together, we can meet those challenges overcome them, hopefully in unique, interesting ways. I'm just looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to just a couple things that hopefully we'll be able to accomplish this year. I look forward to reaching out to the Board of Education Liaison Committee. Like to do another shared service. We have a board member here, Mr. Sweeney, today. So thank you for coming to our meeting, and hopefully we'll be able to work together in 2023 and build on what we did in 2022. As the budget approaches, I'm looking forward to working with our administration on that. Actually, I am, even though it might be a little crazy to say. Looking forward
No
to
one has
reviewing.
ever said.
I'm looking forward to the budget and, you know, working on providing great,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna do that.
I guess they're interrupting me. I don't know.
No, no. I had to remind him some.
I can't believe he did that.
I know.
So anyway, back to my comments. Yeah,
I've been
looking forward,
trained.
looking forward to working on the budget. Providing the great services to our community that we currently provide with all of our town workers and keeping that tax burden as manageable as possible. And just continuing to welcome potential commercial and residential interests. We had, you know, during the year last year, we had some presentations from different developers, and hopefully that will continue and our town will grow in a positive direction. And I just want to wish everyone a happy new year and pray that 2023 is a great year. Thank you.
PCP, I have one alibi.
Huh?
I have one alibi. I forgot to congratulate you officially.
That's okay.
So I know,
I'm not hurt. It's okay.
I know the check's in the mail. And I wanted to say again to the Vietnam vets, the vets, you know, one of you guys, you have a home in Vernon. You always did, you always will. And welcome home.
Thank you. I am going to ask the Vietnam vets, when I conclude my my comments, would you please retire the colors, and we will wait for that, and then we will adjourn the meeting, okay? First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming down and joining us today in this reorganization meeting of Vernon Township. A lot of things occurred in the last year. We were voted on to this council for some reasons, and unfortunately, those reasons were not able to be taken care of due to the fact that all of the things were put in ordinances and resolutions, and this council felt it would cost too much money in legal fees to try to challenge it. So we have a pump track, and it is going to be part of Vernon Township, and I hope everybody can do it safely. Going forward, I would like to make mention that we had a death in Vernon Township this year, this last week, and his name is Emil Izzo. Now, it might not mean anything to anybody in this room, but to the people up on the mountain in Highland Lakes, it's an awful big deal, because Emil was a charter member of the Highland Lakes Fire Department. He started the fire department in Highland Lakes, and he passed away this week at 94 years old. And instead of being sad, I would like to have a moment to clap in his honor for a life well lived. Most people know I am a direct person. I will tell you how I'm feeling. You don't have to worry about wondering. There are a lot of people that we come across every day, and all I know is that we have a council, that there is not one person on this council that has an agenda aside of anybody else's. We are all here to do the good work of Vernon Township. Other than that, I would like to wish everyone a happy and healthy 2023. And go Giants.
They're losing about now, isn't it?
They didn't even start yet, wise guy.
106 are down by 7.
Haven't walked in the field yet.
I'll make a motion.
No, not yet until
We're gonna tell us.
Thank you. Everybody, please stand. Peter. May I now have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Motion to adjourn made by Natalie Pucciari, second by Brad Sparta. Joe Dodger
Patrick.
or Joe Tadrick. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Hanging out, buddy. No